Hi guys! We are going to make a second build, the i7 8700K, and we are going to do it with the motherboard over there, with the Intel Chipset Z370 SLI Plus, the motherboard for MSI, then after the cooling Hydro system, the Hydro 159, the H version had Hydro series, and then after we are going to install two ZOTAC GeForce GTX 1080 Ti cards. DDR4 will drive at the speed of 2666 MHz from CORSAIR, Vegan's LPX, and all is powered by EVGA SUPERNOVA 1600 G2. Gold power supply is used also in the first build. We have now available 7 VGA slots for POI4 mining. Nevertheless, those two machines, one will be dedicated for video editing, the other one for virtual reality, and the mining rig will follow with power from EVGA SUPERNOVA 1600 G2. You guys on the VR, you will have that video then after when we make some video editing, and nevertheless the video loop that you can actually see all the steps, all the action in just a few minutes. Now I must go live because we are actually making a build. Then let's start, make a build. The first thing first, open the Coolmaster, have XB Evo from Lambox, the dual super speed USB 3.0 support, it's on the front, dust filter for easy maintenance, 2 front XDock base, XDock external SATA, the HDD docking, then the removable motherboard tray for easy installation, support CPU coolers with height of 180 millimeters. Individual cooling chambers for improvement thermal management. The 3.5 HDD cage can hold up to 2 HDDs. Removable dust filter for power supply unit. And we'll start to open it. I will actually do it. Yes. You can always put some force or just be patient and it will slide apart. actual manual is here. We saw it also on the first build. So I'll put that aside. That's a little better. No. As always, our side panels are going on the backend side. Just slightly put them away. So we have all necessary screws inside the case. They're okay. I'll put them over here. Use the middle tire over here for the motherboard installation, and we already unscrew the bottom, the top of the case. On the bottom we have that filter that I mentioned initially. That one, like in the first build. We saw in the first build. Please check the videos that are on the first build. The first two, the first five actually videos are about the Intel chipset X299 with the Intel chip, the Core i7 7820X. All is about X series, and that one is all about the 8th generation from the Intel i7, the Intel Core i7 desktop processor, but in the 8th generation, and that particular is the 8700K EVGA. The LGA port is 1151. That port it's necessary to know to use the right cooler that is over there, or if you want, you can see how it looks on the box. You see the H151 is the right one for that LGA. Now, something like that. That's perfect. We will screw the middle tire. That one. Okay. On the front, you have that mask that actually have 3 pins on the side. Here, on the right hand side, left hand side, and one on the top side. On the top, we'll just click them to put the mask apart. Something like that. The last one over here is easy to unscrew when the actual, something like that. You can see it now better. When actually you put away all of 3 parts, 1, 2, 3, and then after the last one on top. Now, like I mentioned in the first build, those are the hot swaps and the disk. It's actually possible to install very nice and easily. The SSD solid state drive, we'll need 4 screws on the bottom to actually hold the whole SSD. If you want that also SSD is hot swap. If you have a regular drive, you have that click over here and just put the disk inside and just close it like that. Then you have the actual SSD or hard drive inside. The funny part of it is that you actually have connectors that are attached to that little motherboard tile or board tile, provided with 2 SATA connections, and those make, and that one actually make those 2 disks like a hot swap. You have actually a possibility of installing additional drives over here in those slots. Those slots goes with 2 sliders. In each box you receive 4 of them, something like that, and then you can actually use that part that is already provided in the case. Just pin those 2 on the sides, and when you heard the sound click, then it's actually perfectly installed. So, that is. Also is possible to install one normal drive. Just imagine that is a hard disk. So, same story, pin on the sides. And here we go. You have your additional disks, 2 of them. Then after we have slots for CD-ROMs or DVD, whatever you want to install on that side for 525 inch drives. And if you don't need any, because you are installing the whole operating system and all drivers, and actually you are completely digitally, you are completely in your digital world, good enough to go with USBs or the 3.2, or on the other side you will have on the motherboard 3.1. You actually you don't need them. In that matter, the Coolmaster provided those two as one possibility to install, but looks like that all is flat for a reason. If you don't need them on the front, you just leave it like that, then the whole mask actually cover the 525 inch. If you actually need them, just pin those two on the sides and you can install your drive. Inside there are actually two pins, 4 of them for the whole drive, 2 on the sides, on each side 2 of them, and they are like feathers, like smashing the the DVD ROM inside of those slots and hold them together, because all DVD or CD ROMs have actually pins on the sides, and then when you smash or slide the drive in, those pins will actually hold your ROM drive. I really don't remember the ROM. We are starting to install the motherboard. For that matter, we need the middle tire. We'll screw those two. And now you can actually play with your motherboard, starting to installing it on the middle tire of the case. Extract that. As you could see, that part is a little bit under the slot here, and then it goes right in that plate over here, like here inside. Now, in that matter, you can say we don't need at the moment the case. We need just the motherboard. It is over here. The SLI Plus motherboard comes in that static bag. Just be sure that your static electricity is gone away, and then use it. Now we can see if that is all of it. yeah, the actual mask for the backend side, then the necessary cables like SATA cables and power cables, the CD-ROM, the guide, one little thank you and the promotion, how to install the processor on that motherboard, and the last but not least the SLI Plus connector. I will just use the part that I took before. I always use the actual box. Just a moment to read what I have on those, the audio boost or the information how many decibels they are provided in isolated audio PVC 120 decibels. Then after you can read also your guys. We are guys that we have high quality audio capacitors for 192 kilohertz, 24 bits. DDR4 boost, speed up with DDR4 boost. It goes from 2133 megahertz till 4000 megahertz. When it's outside the control version or the dual, it doesn't matter. It is 1.6 in speed performance, 100% of compatibility. Mystic Light style your PC with Mystic Light app. The app that goes with the motherboard on the CD-ROM actually can manage the RGB LED ambient lights that are added to give it an awesome look and feel, ready for battle. The twin turbo M.2, the transfer beyond limitation. The M.2 is actually going on 10 GPS. That is gigabyte per second, and sounds like GPS of gigabytes. GPS gigabytes per second. MSI Turbo M.2 actually goes, if you already saw my first build, the V-NAND SSD 970 Pro NVMe M.2 goes till 10 gigabyte per second. The MSI Turbo M.2 on board of the motherboards, MSI X 299 SLI Plus, or that one, the MSI motherboard Z370 SLI Plus. Both of them have those MSI Turbo M.2 that actually goes till 32 gigabyte per second. That one is actually bright as SSD, not like the actual M.2 that goes over here, but like a real drive. and the connector for it, it's that one. Let me see. Oh, no, it's actually inside. It's actually inside here. You can see it over here, guys, and you also here. That is that powerful M.2 SATA and M.2. Actually, it was really easy to see it on the MSI X299 SLI Plus. That was actual pin for it. Here they are presented all of them as SATA and Turbo. The MSI Turbo M.2. It's actually after the jumpers audio boost. They actually put it on the pin. Let me see. Yeah, they provided on the instruction. We will see on the actual box. We can see by ourselves that we have USB 3.1 generation 2. Those that are Type A, and Type C. You also Type A and C. Type A and C. And then after DVI port, if anybody need for the old monitor, USB 2.0 port, those of two, DPC2 combo port, and LAN port, one of them. You will actually see on the, let me use that one to avoid any damage. I have to screw over here. Hi guys. Let's see. So we'll see now a little bit of instruction, but first of all, let me introduce to the difference between the X299 chipset from Intel and that one that is Z370, and also the connectors that I'm starting to talking about. We'll just temporarily disconnect it. I can actually leave it. If you remember from the first build, we actually have one situation where we are trying to make a good cable management, and we actually achieved that. You should just pay attention when you are doing such long build with 2 motherboards, which cables are suitable for which parts, and that the M.2, it's actually located under graphic cards. I can unscrew it, but you will see it anyway. You can put apart those. I'll put it over here. Case and the screws. Something like that. So now everything is okay, I'll just touch it. I also want that we are going to see that part. Please bear in mind that you can move it, so, or completely move away the box that you actually can see. So if you remember well, we were starting to talking about SATA, and then we was installing or putting the cable manager under the middle tire over here to actually make available all connectors that were needed, just available to the parts that are needed. We avoid intersection of the cables and so on. But one thing that you actually should take in consideration, to put all the connectors that are going in the SLI in the with the SATA connectors, with USB the USB connector for the front panel, the 3.0. We talk about that in the video number 5 about front-end panel connectors. Those 6 are actual the SATA cables, and over here it's actually one additional that is that famous twin turbo M.2, that one, and that one is located right under the second graphic card. It's over here. If you forget that, you have two possibilities to actually put it on the side, unscrew also those those ones. Yeah, really solid. Yeah. Reinforcement on the SLI, on the graphic cards that will go in SLI mode. Really good one. You open the side panel, and then you actually you have that turbo M.2 just here, right here. It's the first on the left hand side, and you actually can slot in the pin and go through the through that hole, or follow the cable management, and then you install your disk. Your disk have few possibilities. That you go on the actual hot swap part, like we explained before. Just smash it on the right hand side till the end. I will show you what I mean. Going inside, and then you have like additional part that is over here that should actually stick that plastic part under that mask, this mask over here, and then you have that effect of hot swap that actually bring the connector to join the disk. In that matter, you are then really finished. You hear that additional effect from the opening handle, and that is also the story over here. That is one thing. The other thing, we are actually, you can find the M.2 slot on this motherboard. Both of them are SLI. Just remember that one is for one i7. In our case, 8700K, but most important for the EVGA 1151 port, for that one. And over here is the chipset, Intel chipset X299, that is meant to be to use with the EVGA. It has actually the port EVGA 2066. In that matter, the X series goes also our chip, the Core i7 from X series. We took the i7 7820X. That is actually EVGA 2066. Now back to the mentioned M.2. The M.2, it says that is available in the version here. From the processor, the first is over here, M.2, and the other is over here. And those occupied, when you install the first module, occupied that pin, that PCI Express port, and this one, the respectively that one. That means if you install those SSDs, you can you can't use those two PCI Express, but they're actually that turbo M.2 version that is all like a disk, like normal solid state disk, and that one they said is on this motherboard. Let me see what the actual is. M.2. I am discovering, like you see with you together live, where actually it is. And that is actually one thing that that is, or I can't find, or actually doesn't exist, but exists on the MSI SLI Plus in the version for X series, the Intel chipset X 299, at least on that motherboard. They mention it. It should be anywhere. Oh, they actually point out the M.2 in turbo mode, but like solid state drive, the actual turbo solid state drive, M.2 is not over here. But the twin turbo M.2, it's available. The twin turbo M.2, they mention it in this motherboard version in regards to the M.2 SSD disk, not like additional jack for actual SATA M.2 cable. Turbo M.2. That one we saw in a previous build, but like you can see here, VR guys, it's over here. It's over here, and you already saw it. It's directly over here. There are actually 6 of them from SATA 6 GB per second, and that one that is over here on that motherboard, that is actually 32 GB per second. One nice to have feature, and if they are gonna be like in 6 months, 1 year, cheap as the SSDs, then it will be nice to have them. Nevertheless, anybody that are doing the video editing part, at least the M.2 in twin turbo, to use over here the SSD M.2 version, or just a normal SSDs. Now I'll put back that one. Oh. If you are wondering how I know where is the actual hole for the screw, like you see, that case is really nice because you have all possible views from anywhere, and I just see the hole from the inside. It's really one usable case. Of course, you can turn the whole thing around and you can screw it normal. Now that case could go over there. We can use also the cables from EVGA from a previous build. There are, like I mentioned, 9 of them. We just use 2 of them for those tools, cards, and the cable management with the cables provided from EVGA SUPERNOVA 1600 G2. It's really, yeah, really nice, professional. Something like that. One part that I also mentioned in previous build, you have those 2 handles for the case, and you don't need to grab on the sides if you want to easily manage the case. For transportation is also good. So nice. I'll put my ventilator over here. Today is really, really hot. I don't know you guys, but and it was just nice. Like you can see here, the EVGA SUPERNOVA is a little bit wider than other power supplies. It will stick just 6 millimeters. I make one gap from 1 centimeter and 2 millimeters, something like that, to actually avoid that the cables are stretched too much. And I make that custom build on purpose to have a little bit room inside. You can use also the EVGA that is meant to be used for 1000 volts if you don't want to extend your case with other graphic cards. But with one of them, you actually provide the supply for 9 cards, 2 over here, and on the rig or on the custom build 7 more. Of course, you need also the motherboard that support a lot of those graphic cards. Anyway, on that one you can use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. The same situation is here. Just let me check. Of course, if you are not using the M.2 SSD. If you are using M.2 SSD, then those 2 PCI Express are not available. Over here we have also the same situation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 under. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, 6 of them. But in this case, I actually use the primary M.2 SSD. I installed the V-NAND SSD 970 Pro, the NVMe M.2 512 gigabyte of them, and the SATA that we are going to use in the second build. It is 512 gigabyte V-NAND SSD, the provided by Samsung, and the version is 800, or the model is 860 Pro. It goes till SATA 6 gigabyte per second. Now, there are actually rubber on the bottom of the case, and that allow you to install also one on top of each other, that doesn't to avoid actually scratching between them and so on. But I prefer to use like those wood frames around, and then make one top of another. But back to our build, the i7 on the port LGA, on the socket LGA 1151. That one will smash in the case, just to close that part. Like you remember, the SSD is over here that I mentioned, the Samsung 860 Pro, and like I said, smash till the end and then close. Now, the motherboard is always installed on that middle part, and they actually put all the necessary alphabet or letters that are used for our screwing that make a base. E and B are actually two special screws that are slightly rounded and slightly cut deep inside, that you actually can see slightly cut. Okay, now I will use that box. The provide, and first thing for the middle part, those gold motherboard holders. And we are installing the ATX, that means A, the A, they are a little bit harder than the other screws because they are holding the motherboard. I will use no that one, but this one, the normal holder. No, then after it says, after A, B is already installed, C. Ta, 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 ta. We can actually use that phone part from our motherboard box to actually avoid any possible damage on the table. Oh, why not? So, after C goes D, and it says AFGHI. DAF. AFG. Hi guys. GH. Opala. ABC. ATX ABC. DAF. JKL. J. Because we are installing the ATX, the last are JKL. That one, on that part, the GHI are for the micro ATX. And the ATX, just it will go on JKL. Just from the dimension, you can do it directly right, or use the motherboard, see where actually are the holes, and install them. But they put on the middle plate like notice for actually fill for actually fill your to-do list. It's really nice and easy to have such help, especially if the build is going to take long. You can use it like a checklist for your builds. The same information is provided also in the specification book, the user guide. Super. Now we have the ATX layout, VR guys. That one is the ATX layout, those screws. 3 on the bottom, in the middle, and on the top. Now, that layout should go seen like that. The ports goes on the side because that actual part that are going under the middle tire, that 1 millimeter gap, it's actually a gap for the peripherals. Now, those that are pre-installed should slot in like that, just nice and easily. They just need to sit perfectly, and then all the other will just follow those tools. One of them sit perfectly, the other should go. Yes, now you hear that click part, lock the board, and now all of other screws are actually right in place. Now the screws for the motherboard, for the upper tire, if you are not sure which one are meant to be installed, then please follow the instructions. Always on the first section or pages. Actually, the part starting from components. Over here, the first part are all about the chipset and the chip information. The prerequisite part is actually connectors. Connect the processor, installing the read access memory, installing how goes the power LEDs, in which order and on which pins we go. We actually made a part on the front panel connector section, the video number 5. And here you can see that those screws are the right one. Those with the upper head that is a little bit wider. Okay. One is on the floor, but we have enough head that is a little bit bigger. You see? And the body part is a little bit longer. Yes. Nevertheless, check double. Double checking is always good. Double checking. No. The magnet head is always good to have, and one occasionally goes where. Oops. We have the longest one and those in the middle that are middle length is the right one. They are the right ones. Yep. Now we are close. A, B. Then after B, I jump to the A, B, C. A, B, C, D, A. Because those make that magical diagonal. And when I screw those two, then I go diagonal. Diagonal. Diagonally. Or in opposite of. Hoopla. So all of them are tight. Double check. CBA. CBA. F. A. D. LKJ. See, double check is always good. So, A, B, C, D, A, F, J, K, L. And that's it. That's it for the motherboard. We actually installed it correctly. It won't fall apart. Now, both of you, YouTube and VR guys, those holes are very important for the LGA 100, 1151 slot. And if you are going to install the hydro seria from the CORSAIR that you have over there in a corner. You can actually now see it. Okay. In that corner, it's actually the Hydro Series H115i. That one goes with that little slot that is meant to be used here. You need just to actually adapt your sides to the port, and you have like those sliders on the corners for more type of slots. We'll start doing that uh, for dimension 75 times 75, and the other is 80 to 80. And that one should be 75 to 75. The express in 75 millimeters, the distance between the holes, not with the slot information. The slot information you actually have in the Hydro series or additional information from the processor, but those are always related to the normal ventilator and something like that. And those ones for hydro, for water cooling, they are always available in the box for the water cooling. But it could be that somebody mentioned. Anyway, it goes here. Why is that important? Because the slides will then sit on top of the processor and screw the whole hydro on the processor tight. Cut it around, cut inside, that you actually